welcome back to Cybertopia. We are in the middle of a mission at a hacked greenhouse that has gone somewhat awry. The characters are just about to experience the darker side of genetic modifications, shall we say. So let's reintroduce the characters, and we shall start with Rev. Why don't you tell us what's been going on with Julie?
So, hi, I'm Rev. I'm playing Julie. Julie is a mad scientist, and we sort of wandered around, and Julie hacked us entry into the greenhouse and then let the workers back in and got us access to the computer, and then our chemist friend identified some of the records and stuff, and then we spun the wheel on the wheel of defaults, and now there's horrible screaming.
Okay, so speaking of chemist friend, Dee, why don't you tell us about Toby?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dee, and I'm playing Toby, or TS-187, the famously resilient test subject of Amazing Core, who has attempted to identify the growth chemical concoction that is being fed to the plants, and not been quite as successful as he would have wanted to, even though he found it a pleasant experience to inject himself with these chemicals. And he's currently dealing with a bum leg, courtesy of an exoskeleton malfunction.
Yeah, we'll see that coming into play shortly, I'm sure. And finally, Aidan, how about you introduce us to Cyan?
Hi, it's Cyan, your intrepid hunter here. We've just heard a scream, so that means things are about to get exciting. I'm really looking forward to tracking down whatever is out there so we can deal with it in a suitably brutal fashion.
I'm going to have to create some sort of side mission for Cyan to go on like a Bear Grylls kind of expedition or something, aren't I? Okay, well, let's get back into the action then. So, the three of you have just restarted the climate control and irrigation systems, and it seemed like everything was fine and dandy for a brief moment there until you started to hear screaming coming from the employees who were tending to the plant life.
Well, unless anyone interferes, Cyan is going to dive into the undergrowth and then kind of run reasonably quickly towards the sound of the screams.
Okay, so there are screams coming from each of the three employees in each of the three wings of the greenhouse at this point. We'll just send you down a random one at this point. And yeah, you dive into the undergrowth then. What are you going to use for your diving in, I guess?
He is using Hunter and the 1010 all-environment bodysuit. Yes, I think that's it.
Okay.
That's a +4.
Let's have the roll then.
Wow, a 19.
Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, you weave in and out of the giant corn dog stalks, and you're stepping very carefully but quickly through the minefield of pork potato plants, and you make it towards where you can see the employee that Julie had previously been talking to, and she's been wrapped up in a plant that has appeared from nowhere, really, has suddenly shot up, and it looks like some sort of beanstalk kind of thing, and it's wrapped vines around her. You can't really see her face properly through the environmental suit that she's wearing, but you can hear muffled screaming, and where she's able to get her arms and legs a little bit loose, she's kind of flailing and struggling against this thing, clearly trying to get away, but it's grabbing onto her.
So in order to properly analyse the situation, Cyan will stand there and describe what he's seeing to the camera.
Okay. I think we could call this a preparation role. So you're
yeah, sure.
analysing the situation, and you can add in your camera drone to that role, and probably also Hunter, I guess, would give you that extra information.
Yes, and it probably counts on observation, although...
Yeah, if you roll an at 20 on it, then you can get a score against observation. What is maybe outdoormanship? Because this is like a plant you'd normally find outdoors, kind of.
I'll go with that, yeah. Oh, wow, that's helpful. Natural 1.
Ooh, perfect timing for that. Okay, yeah. What do we do with this one? So this is a trauma... I'm thinking something along the lines of like hesitation or something, like you spend too long like overanalyzing.
Narrative diarrhea.
Let's make it something a bit more general. because you've got to be able to rolling against this to get rid of it. Overanalyzing, I think, is probably so basically whenever you're trying to analyze anything or observe anything, you're going to have this apply, and it's just going to make you spend a bit too long at vital moments like this. So you're standing there and you send your drone camera to like get really up close, and you're like staring at it and you're looking really closely as much as you can, and a good few minutes pass, and then you see the plant thing just kind of wrapping tighter and tighter, and this employee's face comes into view on the viewing panel of the suit, and you can see her eyes bulging, and she's like, "What are you doing? Help me!"
Getting good footage. What do you think he's doing?
That's it. That's it. That's what he's doing.
Oh, this is a horror film now, isn't it?
Oh boy, that's the wrong angle to save you.
Was Julie or Toby following up behind Cyan, or were they going to go to the other employees?
Yeah, I would stick together in a group if there's horrible, blood-curdling screaming. I'm not going off alone. I've watched the corporation-approved horror movies.
And Toby?
Is there a direction where there was a stronger or louder scream that was coming from?
Let's say the first screaming that you heard was the direction that Cyan went. That would be why they went down that particular tunnel.
All right.
Yeah, I'll head down that way. But I would also like to try, basically to brute force the exoskeleton to move.
Okay.
So I'll inject a little bit of painkiller and a little bit of an adrenaline mixture.
Okay. Oh, I like this.
And just kind of try to force the knee joint to kind of open up.
Sure. Okay. Let's have that roll then.
Alrighty.
So this will be the full roll to do the movement to the employee, and you can include your internal compound upgrader in that as well.
Okay. Perfect. So that's a +2 from the upgrader and a -1 for the malfunction.
Yeah.
So that's a +1.
We'll also do the movement as well. So let's have the exoskeleton and the chemistry, biochemistry, that stuff, wearable tech.
Okay, so that's a +1 for wearable tech gets it up to 2. The exoskeleton +2 gets it up to a +4. And biochemistry and chemistry would get it up to +7.
Yep.
And let's see if I can run.
Yes, let's see.
That's a 16 total.
Okay, so you can mark 1 success against your trauma.
Excellent.
You manage to force it into some sort of mobility, and you can hear it kind of grinding and crunching as you're forcing it to do something that it clearly doesn't want to be doing right now.
Something's still skipping in there.
That's gonna suck when those painkillers wear off.
It mostly does, yes.
You mean if those painkillers wear off.
Exactly.
That's the secret.
So yeah, you force this exoskeleton to power you through the sticky corn dog stalks and avoiding the splattering tomato plants, and you manage to get up to where Cyan is just kind of staring at this person being wrapped in this vine, and
that purple colour is meaning that she's losing oxygen to her lungs.
Okay, Julie, you're following up?
Yeah, as soon as I see that they're being strangled by the plant.
We'll also need a movement roll for you as well.
Oh, yep. Okay, that's just a flat roll then.
Sure.
I roll an 11.
Okay, so I guess this all narratively makes sense then. So Julie comes a little bit later than the others, and yeah, you see this employee being slowly suffocated by this plant.
Okay, well, I will use my surgeon skill and my tentatools and my porter lab and try to, do a little quick emergency cut you free from the mobile plant experiment surgery.
Okay, let's have that.
Try to slice them free without hurting them and with minimal damage to the plant, actually.
Sure. Okay.
An entagolectomy, if you will.
Yep. Well, I don't want to cause too much damage because, they're both company property, so I'm trying my best. So that's +1, +3, +4, and that's a 9 + 4 is 13.
Okay. You managed to cut away enough of the vines that the employee isn't able to breathe, but they are still attached to this thing. Let's say you get the vines off the top half of their body, but their legs are still entangled. So they're not completely free, but they are able to breathe. And you can hear this person just gasping for breath.
Good. I have preserved company property. I am doing my job.
She rips off the hood of her environment suit and just is gasping for breath and leaning forward and trying to break her legs free from this weird vine that has grabbed her. And I guess Cyan would notice through their overzealous observation that they seem to be covered in some sort of goo. There's some sort of like gooey substance that is on the outside of this environment suit that this employee is wearing.
Did they get the goo on them when they took their hood off?
They've managed to avoid the goo getting on the part that is now exposed, for the moment at least. Toby, what are you doing?
Hey, Toby, why don't you see if you can work out what that substance is?
Yeah, I mean, I can try to analyze that. Yeah, let's analyze the goo.
Can I let him use my gear?
Yeah, so you can give him an assist by offering that.
Okay, so I would roll for the assist then, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm offering my Portalab to you, and that's a 14 plus a 1 is 15.
Okay, so that is a +1 for an assist roll. 11 to 15 is +1. So you can now do an analysis of something using that +1. The employee is looking up, like staring at you guys, being like, "What are you doing? Get me free!"
We have to understand the situation first. Let the expert work, please, ma'am.
It's trying to kill me!
This kind of panic reaction is very typical of people who have not been in dangerous situations before.
I don't even know why you're here. Get me out of here.
Can I try a Smiling Sam's roll to calm her down a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, ma'am, we just need to understand what's going on here. If we act too hastily, we could do more harm to you and other company property.
Oh my god, you're gonna get me killed?
Well, that's what we're trying to avoid, ma'am. And so that's an 18 total?
Okay. All right. Okay. Just get me out of here, please.
All right, now we're going to let Toby work.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to analyze this goo. Among other things, I'm also going to be tasting it, because that is the proper way to test something.
Okay.
So, if you will allow, I will be using the enhanced sensory processor, the biochemistry, and the resilient test subject.
Okay. Let's go for it.
Plus the +1 from Julie.
Yes.
So that's 3, 6, and 1 is 7, +8 to my roll, and my roll is going to be a natural 1.
No.
Oh.
Okay. Ooh, interesting.
Best timing.
Excellent timing.
Yes, you're doing this testing and
This is
analyzing.
perfect. This is exactly how I planned this character to pan out. This is excellent.
So you go to taste this goo, and as you're tasting it, it kind of fizzes on your tongue for a brief second.
Pop rocks.
Then it starts burning, and you start doing that thing where you're like trying to scrape it off your tongue, and it's not coming off, and you just start like rolling around on the floor. Yeah, you're going to get a trauma of some sort of sensory... Okay, yep, that's it. Sensory overload. That's what you're suffering from now. What you've tasted is just like, it's too much. It's not like, it's not spicy. It's not like acidic or something. It's just, it's so many flavors. You can't control yourself when this is going through you. And so you're going to have this sensory overload until you can get rid of it, I guess. So you're currently out of commission for a brief moment. We shall go back over to Cyan, who has been watching and maybe has turned the camera onto his partner, who is now rolling on the floor.
What I would like to do now is take a small sample of one of these tentacles.
Okay.
So, yes. I'm assuming I can use Hunter as well for this, and then I will probably use my saliva to make it easier to cut it. Like, spit on it first, and then just...
Okay. I thought you meant you were going to bite it for a second there.
Lunchy munchies.
I mean, you could.
I think, depending on how I do, so basically he's going to try and yank it, but if yanking doesn't work, he will just bite it.
Okay. All right, let's go for a yanking first then.
I think it's just one of those things. If he rolls reasonably well, it'll be a bite, and if it rolls really well, he won't need to.
Okay.
Right, so that's 1 from the saliva, 3 from Hunter, and I'm not including the eat anything on this one.
Okay.
Oh, natural 20.
Ooh,
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you spit onto one of the vine tentacles and grab it and give it a yank, and your deadly saliva has like melted a little bit through it, made it a bit weakened, and then when you've gone to yank it, it's just come loose pretty easily. And it's enough actually that the employee is then able to fully break free from the plant creature. There are vines still kind of reaching out towards her as she stumbles forward, and she's exhausted from this experience, kind of stumbles to the floor, drags herself further away, so she's fully out of reach of this thing.
Ma'am, have you seen this experimental mix before?
I don't know what's going on. Just get me out of here.
Okay, ma'am, I need you to perform the exit interview. Have you seen this experimental mix before?
What's wrong with you people?
I can smell the universe.
Good answer.
Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but if you do not comply with the exit interview, I'm afraid I'll have to give you a poor performance review.
I want to go home. And she's like scrambling away. She's just trying to get back to the entrance. I'm going now. Bye.
Employee uncooperative.
She's just going. She's heading back towards the central area. I suppose there's no plants immediately around the computer hub, so she's going to head back to that area.
She's going to hide out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Are either of the two wings closer to us?
No, it's kind of a T shape.
Like equidistant?
Yeah. So you'll have to go back to the hub.
Is there screaming coming from either or both of them at this point when we go back to the hub?
Firstly, Cyan, do you want to do anything with this tentacle? Are you holding onto it, or what?
Oh, that's right. You got a tentacle.
Well, I mean, two things, obvious things. One is, what's the plant doing? And the second thing is, what's the tentacle doing?
So the remaining vines of the plant are reaching out, and it's still continuing to grow. This thing that definitely wasn't here when Julie came down this way before is expanding still and reaching out towards the three of you. I suppose probably Toby is closest because they're rolling on the floor, but it is reaching out towards them. The vine tentacle that you've got has gone limp ever since you detached it.
Can Cyan and I help Toby away?
Yeah.
Does he need help is the question. I should phrase it as.
You've got time to get Toby back up onto his feet and recover from whatever that was that he's going through. He's still experiencing this taste sensation.
Your aura tastes angry.
I think Cyan is probably going to be saying something along the lines of, and as you can see, this plant is still a threat, it's still growing. So what I want to do next is see what's on the inside.
Okay, what are you going to do?
Oh boy.
Well, he will look at Toby very briefly, and then look at Julie and say, do you have anything that could help?
Oh, you want to get, does it have like a central bulb that's accessible or something like that? Or is it kind of like a writhing mass that's hard to distinguish?
I'm picturing something like a Jack and the Beanstalk kind of thing going on here. It's not like enormous giant beanstalk, but it's a large beanstalk with like a central pillar of plant / meat mass with vines and tentacles like reaching off of that.
So essentially getting inside would be like an incision into the central pillar.
Yeah.
And we'd have to get through the grabby parts to get there. The
grabby parts would try and get you if you got close enough to do that.
Toby, you still have your mystery mix?
Yes.
This might be a good time to test it out. It might at least stun it for us to get close enough to get a look inside it or look around it.
I can try. Let me just hear where it is.
I can sense it.
I feel it's over that way, and I point behind me.
I can smell where your finger is pointing.
That's unnerving.
Yes. Multiversal synesthesia.
That's kind of cool.
I might have to collect some of this goo for further testing.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as I find it again. Yeah, I'm gonna try out the mystery chemical on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna try out the mystery chemical. Do I add anything other than... Oh, yes, I am going to pump the mystery chemical into a compartment on my exoskeleton that basically acts as a sprayer.
Ooh, cool. I like that. And yeah, I'll give you chemistry and biochemistry as well.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, you get wearable tech and exo.
Damn it with these rolls. That's a total of 9.
Oh. Okay.
And you did say that the mystery chemicals was going to be a danger roll.
Yeah, so because it's a danger roll, you've rolled below a 10 on the dice.
Way below a 10.
Yeah, so you throw this chemical at the plant, and what happens is the plant seems to react, and the surface of the plant kind of bubbles. And for a moment there, you're like, oh, yes, I've got it. It's killing the plant. And then lots of gas starts to come off the plant. Maybe gas is the wrong word. Spores seem to emanate from the plant. And I'll have all three of you. Actually, who's got suits on? Yeah, it's just Julie, who is...
Cyan also has a suit on.
Yeah, so just Julie is exposed to this. Julie, roll to avoid getting spored.
Yeah, I in no way do, because I roll a 1.
Oh, shit.
Boy.
This is bad.
Just to be fair, I'm not certain I would call Toby's exoskeleton necessarily a suit.
Oh, okay, you also roll against being spored
It's
then.
basically just metal that's grafted onto
so it's
his
not
flesh,
on the
right?
face
So it's
then.
like, no, it's
Okay.
not like the enhanced processor unit is just, it is like across one eye or something. It's just like a spidery kind of tech that's going across his face, but I wouldn't say he's covered in a suit, to be fair.
Yep, whereas Cyan's is literally an all-environment bodysuit. Oh,
Yep.
wait, is it just a bodysuit? Does it have a head part?
His head is not fully covered, no, otherwise how would his face go on camera?
Okay, yep. All right, you both also have to roll then.
Breathe the rainbow. Breathe the rainbow with me.
Right, okay.
Okay, so what are we rolling?
So you're rolling to protect yourself against these spores. So anything that's going to help you in that regard.
Yeah, so Toby has at least got something, because you're a resilient test subject in that.
Yeah, I can get a +3, and I mean, if you will allow me, I don't know if I'm quick enough, but I could try to counteract it with some chemicals, with my inner compound upgrader.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But you will be incurring your sensory overload on this.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's have that roll first, and then we'll do Cyan.
A +4 total. Okay, that's a 12 for a total of 16.
Nice. Okay, so you get 1 success against your sensory trauma, and yeah, you manage to activate something quickly in your internal compound upgrader that gives you some extra bio defenses, blocks your breathing or something, filters your breathing so that you're not going to be taking in any of these spores as they come towards you.
Hyper concentrated vitamin D.
Yep. Cyan, what are you doing?
Cyan has Endure and Outdoorsmanship and his bodysuit. So that gives a +3. And I rolled a natural 20.
Nice. Wow.
Nice.
You've been smashing those nat 20s. And actually, what I would say is that you would have incurred your overanalyzing thing there as well. So you will immediately get rid of that and turn that into a new +1 skill of analysis. So that is nice. I suppose Cyan manages to spot what's happening just at the right moment, just before the spores get to him, and he pulls back.
In my head, Cyan's like, look out, and I turn my face directly into the spore cloud.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, we didn't sort out your trauma, did we, Trev?
Yes, pores.
Nope, I get a fresh new trauma breathing in the... See, it's only fair. I'm being punished for misappropriating company property. I did not have permission to take it inside my body.
Yeah. So you are going to have a trauma in, let's just say, breathing, I guess. Yeah. You have -1 breathing.
Spore breath.
You can breathe, but it's bad. It's not good. So, yeah, anytime you try and do anything that's going to require exertion, I suppose you're going to incur that.
Like, I don't know, fighting plants, running away from plants, climbing up the escape route.
Welcome to the mid-roll. We're going to use this space to tell you a bit about ourselves and also to celebrate some of our awesome friends. Firstly, maybe it'd be a good idea to tell you a bit about this game and where you can find it. Cybertopia is a rules-lite sci-fi game created by myself, Ben Newbon, and the base rulebook can be bought pay what you want over at my itch page. You can find me mostly on Twitter, just by my name, Ben Newbon, and I also have some trailers and whatnot up on YouTube, also under my name. And here's some info about the players from this episode.
Hello, I'm Aidan, and I write comedy one-shots, which you can find at pix-at-flies.itch.io.
Hi, I'm Rev. I write games for Dot Punks. I made Motif, which is a flexible dice system you can use for oracles or games.
Hey peeps, it's your friendly D, here to tell you that you can find me on Twitter under @NightWanderer, that's Wanderer with an O, where you can check out me being silly, wise, questionably mysterious, and happy to palaver about all things TTRPG. keep an eye out for some neat system hacks and my own game, coming soonish.
Next up, here's a quick promo for a good friend of the show. Chances are, if you've gotten this far, you listened to the first mission, Thieves in the Nightclub, and heard Jeff's dulcet tones as Tim's. Well, if you can't wait for him to return, you should definitely go check out his other actual play podcasts and get your fill in the meantime.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeff, and I run the Big Campaign Stories podcast. Our story focuses on 4 people working at a repo company, trying to keep afloat among a corporate dystopia and crushing debt. The world is one that we have been playing in and working on for a long time. The current homebrew setting is played with Pathfinder 1st Edition rules, but with more of a modern feel to it. Think something like Blade Runner or Snow Crash, but with magic. We try to release every Thursday, and when we cannot, we come up with small side episodes focusing on each character to help expand the world and lore. So, if you like greasy breakfasts, people trying to pay bills, and the occasional Lovecraftian monster, give us a listen. Alright, thanks.
And now, back to the action. What has happened, though you've all just experienced this spore explosion, when the spores kind of die down, when the spore cloud dissipates, you see the plant that gave them off seems to have overexerted itself, like maybe that mystery chemical that you threw at it was some sort of accelerant or something that makes the plant just overdo itself. So that has now kind of exploded almost, and the remaining parts are no longer growing or moving or seem to be animate in any way. But you do hear back from one of the other wings some blood-curdling cries.
We need to... Yeah, stir...
Yeah, I can smell your point. We should head over there.
Okay.
Yeah. Go running.
Yeah, let's have running rolls from everyone again then.
Yep. I am again going to try to force my exoskeleton into functioning.
Yep, let's have that.
16.
Nice, that's another success against your trauma. So yeah, again, you manage to force your exo knees into action and they propel you across the greenhouse. And Rev, have you rolled badly again?
A 1.
No,
really?
Just rolled another
Wow,
one in a
it's
row.
all falling apart for Rev right now. Julie is having a bad time.
I like probably take like 2 steps and then I'm just like...
Yeah, and actually that's a really good point. It's your breathing's gone again, and because you've rolled a nat 1 on something that was already having the breathing penalty, you now have -2 on that trauma. It's a -2 breathing trauma.
Oh boy.
I mean, on the plus side, if you manage to roll a nat 20 against this now, it's going to be a +2 skill that you gain.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, you do have to roll a nat 20 for that to happen.
Please?
I mean, we've had a lot of swings in these rolls. Okay, Aidan, Cyan, running.
So yeah, Cyan gets +3 for Hunter, possibly +1 for Endure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure outdoorsmanship counts in this case, since he's literally just trying to run rather than sneak around. So that's +4 on a 5, so he gets a 9.
Okay. I think I would give you outdoormanship. That feels like a word that would apply to running, especially through foliage and stuff. So yeah. So Toby takes up the lead and sprints across. Again, you can hear the exoskeleton crunching on every step, but it is powering through.
And shortly behind is Cyan.
And barely moving is Julie. But they are moving very slowly in the right direction. I guess because they're moving slowly, they can be quite careful to not step on any tomato plants or anything. So, Toby, you get to the central unit and you see that female employee has just kind of lent herself up against the computer hub, is kind of regaining her composure. She's still pretty shaken from what she's experienced. She doesn't want to go down either of the other tunnels because there is screaming coming from one of them and silence coming from the other one, but lots of plants down that way, so she doesn't want to go towards the entranceway just at this moment. It's at least unattended. The silence is coming from the tunnel that goes towards the entranceway. The blood-curdling cries are coming from the other wing that goes down the other direction.
I mean, I'm going to head down towards the cries.
Okay, so when you get to where that employee was, you see quite a similar situation. There is a large vine plant that has sprung up out of nowhere, and very little is visible of that employee that was down this part, but you can see an arm sticking out and a face. The hood of their environment suit has been ripped, and you can see their face just poking out, and very little of the rest of them. Maybe you can see like imprints of their body on this vine, and this person's face is just kind of going gradually redder and redder, and the person is just yelping and screaming. You think you've probably got very little time to be able to do anything here.
Yeah, I am going to activate a juggernaut mode in my exosuit, shoot myself up with some chemicals that allow me to process a bit quicker and that relax my body so that the muscles and the bones don't get broken and ripped apart as the exoskeleton takes over.
Nice.
And I'm just going to try to rip basically the person free.
Okay, let's have this. It sounds fun. I'm feeling proper anime vibes off this.
Let's see. So I would say it includes the internal compound upgrader, the exoskeleton prototype, wearable tech, and resilient test subject. Does it also include the chemistry and biochemistry?
Yeah. And I'd say, actually, this is also unarmed combat, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I will also say that it will incur your movement penalty, though.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that's 4.
This is a big old modifier, so on that one's going to go badly.
Plus 11. Yep. So that's a plus 11 modifier.
Yeah.
No, sorry, plus 10 with ambulatory malfunction. So here we go, dice. Okay, that's an 18 for a total of 28.
All right. Wow. You tear into this thing and you just go to town on it. Oh, I guess importantly, you get rid of your trauma now. Your exoskeleton just kicks into gear again and suddenly that knee stops crunching. And you just go to town on this vine plant and just tear it to bits. And the employee's body just kind of flops out of it. They're unconscious, but they are alive at least. And you're just ripping this plant apart, tearing it to pieces. It's decimated. There's bits of plant just spread all over this part of the greenhouse. As you are tearing it, though, it releases spores.
Yep, fair.
So we're going to have a spore roll again, and
already
you will be incurring your sensory overload.
Yep, and I'm going to say in this state, especially with like ripping the plant apart and everything, and also having injected the muscle relaxant, I'm going to say I don't have the time to like counteract it with more chemicals.
That's fair.
So it's just going to be resilient and sensory overload. So that's a plus 2 total.
Okay.
And that's a 19 for a 21.
Nice. Okay. Jeez. Okay. You're getting all of Rev's good rolls here. So
yeah.
Yeah. Mark a success against the sensory overload trauma. And yeah, you've seen these spores before. They nearly got you last time. They're not going to get you this time either. So I'm going to say you scoop up the body of the employee and just pelt it back towards the central hub. When you get there, the female employee sees you. It's like, oh my God, what did you do? Johnny, you okay? And Johnny is clearly out cold, but you flop him down next to her. And she like starts trying to like shake him and rouse him and like do some first aid or something. By which time Cyan has also made it to the central hub. The two of you meet up. And you can look down the tunnel and see Julie just kind of staggering along, just gasping for breath with each step.
And I'm back.
There is no sign or sound of the third employee that was in the tunnel down towards the entranceway. What you will notice as Julie is gathering their breath at this point, can look at the computer screen and see lots of flashing red lights.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look at the lights and try to figure them out. Would my mad scientist apply to this?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You've seen consoles going wild before.
And I presume because I'm winded, I should take the -2 for the breathing?
I don't think that would apply on this.
Okay.
What I would say is this is definitely fringe science.
Ah, excellent. So it's a +5, which is 24 total.
Blimey. All right. Yeah. Though previously when you'd looked at this, none of it really made sense. You didn't really understand what any of this really meant. You feel like on a second look, I can see kind of what has changed from previously when we activated the climate control and irrigation systems again. Something has definitely changed, and I can see that those bars have gone up and that wiggly sine curve has gone a bit flatter, and there's some odd spikes in there. And you start pressing some things, and You just seem to innately be able to figure out, yes, this is how I adjust that, and I can see that curve is now going into a nicer shape. And one by one, you manage to get rid of these red lights, and after like a couple of minutes, you get a kind of green sign flash up. This is all clear, and the female employee is like, "Is it better? Looks."
You might just wait for a minute. So there might be we're missing employees, so there's probably more of these plant things around that we need to secure the hunter person.
On it.
Hunting? I'm sorry, my brain's a little foggy because of my lungs aren't working right.
And this is why it is so important to stay fit, no matter what your occupation is.
You guys go ahead. I'll try and get Johnny up, and we'll try and we'll try and get out behind you. Okay.
Oh, you should go back to the room you were in and tend to the plants. It's like safe. It's not eating people no more.
Okay, you're useless. You go ahead. We'll wait here. Okay. So all three of you are going to go ahead towards the tunnel with the entrance at the end of it.
I think Cyan is going full kind of hunter mode.
Yep. Okay.
Harpoon in hand.
Okay. Yeah.
There's an unaccounted people eating plant around.
Let's have a roll for tracking.
One.
Oh, no.
No way. Wow. You guys have had rolls all over the spectrum today. Wow. Okay. You like so excited and so pumped to be getting into like full hunter mode. You run straight ahead and crash straight into a overgrown corn dog stalk and knock your head on it and suffer a trauma of disorientation. So you have -1 disorientation. Fortunately, this doesn't like react in any way. It doesn't try and grab you. It doesn't give off any spores or anything like that. But you have given yourself a bit of a knock-in.
You were stunned by an uncooked sausage.
Okay. Julie, Toby, I assume you're also going to be going this way. Are you going at full pelt or walking, or how are you moving?
Oh, yeah. I'm walking, probably not at a terribly fast clip either.
Okay, let's have a movement roll.
I'm going quickly.
Okay, we'll have movement rolls from both of you. Let's do Julie first with the -2 breathing.
Oh, hey, natural 20.
No way.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay, I can't
Awesome.
believe how extreme your rolls have been. Okay, so I mean, you get +2. +2 breathing feels like a weird one. How about +2?
Athletics?
Yeah, +2 athletics. That sounds good.
You got your second wind.
Well, apparently the bad breathing was just my body being rewired by this company technology. I'll have to,
Your lungs rebooting.
return part of my pay.
Should beat your chest a bit.
I have to pay for this.
Zoom across.
Ooh, this feels awesome. I feel like I could run a marathon.
Okay, Toby, let's have your movement.
You're literally doing a full Forrest Gump run at this point.
Wow, I'm just going to start running now. Just going to run across the
Toby's
country.
going to have to roll a nat 20 to get in front of you to hold up a stop sign.
Okay, so am I adding wearable tech and exoskeleton to this?
If you want, yeah.
Yep, definitely. That is a hot 7.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you quickly lose sight of Julie. Cyan has run into a corn dog stalk and is currently doing a little spin as they reorientate themselves.
This is the exact opposite of earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julie, you get to the middle of this tunnel and you see this massive vine plant. No sign of the employee. The vine plant doesn't seem to be moving or doing anything. It's definitely not acting like the one you saw earlier. There's no tendrils or tentacles or anything trying to reach out or anything like that. But this definitely wasn't here when you came down this tunnel before, and it's definitely out of place in this area.
I'm going to assume it's kind of like a snake right now, like when snakes eat and they take a little full belly nap. And so I'm just going to back away slowly a little bit and, back to see where my teammates went.
The plant life has very rapidly expanded in these tunnels. So the vegetation is much thicker than when you came down before. And because your teammates have been so slow off the mark and you've been so fast, you cannot see them between all of the plants that you've managed to burst through yourself.
Well, in that case, I'm going to take a little bit of time while I'm waiting for them to catch up. And I'm just going to give it like a good look over and see if there's any more of that. Like, did it leave a trail of goo anywhere that I could find? And just sort of give it a little mad and fringe science study.
Are you touching it? Are you poking it? Doing anything like that?
Let me basically flip a coin and say here. yeah. I'm gonna scrape the surface of it with my tools. Be like,
okay.
Take a little surface scrape.
So do you want to use your surgeon skill as well then?
I guess I shall. Yes.
Cool. So let's have all of that.
+8. And wow. I'm glad I have that much a plus because that's a 10 total.
Okay. You're taking your time with this and you're being very careful with it, and it's not moving. You're not really under any pressure. So you give it a little bit of a scrape, and I take it you're collecting like a sample of this thing?
Yeah.
So you give it a little scrape, and as you do, you peel off like a small section of it's not bark. What is it? It's like the stalk skin of this plant.
Like broccoli skin.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
And as you do, you can see a fleshy arm underneath.
Like a people arm?
A people arm.
Oh, I'm going to look behind me. Are my friends catching up here?
Yeah, I'll say
at this point, because I'm a little afraid to cut into this alone. I've seen what these things do.
They are finally getting there because you spent a few minutes doing this very carefully. They eventually catch up to you. First Toby and then Cyan. Cyan looks a little bit dizzy, but they are there.
Yeah, so I started taking a sample and there's an arm in there. We might be able to retrieve the other piece of company property. It might still be alive.
Can I check for a pulse?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can roll for that.
I'll take a +1 from the enhanced sensory processor and -1 from the sensory overload.
Sure.
So that's a +0.
Okay.
And that's a 10.
Okay. You can't feel a pulse.
Okay. I'm not detecting a pulse, but maybe we should extract him.
We need to see what the plant does to him.
So, Hunter, but I mean, I was careful. I tried not to disturb it too much when I was taking a sample, but do you think that this is like a snake? Do you think it's got like a full belly nap and we can cut into it without being too worried, or do we need to be super careful?
We'll find out. First time we just have to see what happens.
I think Cyan could do a roll on this to, I guess, analyze the situation. You've got your analysis, your hunter, and all your huntery stuff. So you could perhaps have a look and see what you think this is.
Okay.
Do we know if the arm is attached to the person, or is this just like an artichoke?
You haven't taken out enough of the skin of this plant to see, like, all you can see is the side of a bicep.
So I've got hunter, I've got outdoorsmanship. Can I use eat anything, considering it's had experience of eating things?
Yeah, okay, why not?
Disorientated, because not quite with it.
Your analysis skill as well.
Yeah, so that's 3, 4, 6 plus 6.
Yep.
15 total.
Okay. You're fairly sure that this is just a plant. It's not animate. It doesn't seem to be responding to any stimulus, and you can't sense from it that it's got any kind of instincts like the previous one you saw did.
In which case, without even saying anything, just step in and start peeling bits of flesh off.
Okay.
I mean,
the plant flesh, not the human flesh.
Yes. But, taking care to, show what happens as you pull it off, obviously.
Are you other two helping at this point to extract the body?
I'll try to help.
Okay. I'm not going to make you roll for this. I think if you're all helping out each other and you're doing it slowly, you can just gradually pull apart this plant until you reveal this body of this person who was the person that you'd been talking to when you first came in, when you first let the employees back in. They are most definitely not alive, and their suit that they've been wearing is completely gone, disintegrated and melted, and their skin seems pretty, what's the word?
Is it kind of burnt in some way?
Yeah, it's got chemical burns on it, and it's also covered in that same sort of goo that you saw on the other plant when you extracted that employee from that grappling. Yeah, so this employee corpse is released, and as you do so, the plant itself kind of keels over with the loss of the stability that it did have where this body was previously, and the plant quicker than you'd possibly expect a plant to, withers and disintegrates itself.
Cyan finds this incredibly fascinating and is vociferously explaining everything that's exciting to him to the camera and anyone else who dares to listen.
There doesn't seem to be any other of these giant growths here anymore, and the employees are either safe or dead. There doesn't seem to be any immediate danger to anybody else here. You restored the facility to working conditions, and you're able to leave. I'd say as you do, you probably scoop up some samples from these things, and you call in to your HQ to tell them the situation is resolved. There's been some casualties. Probably need to have replacement staff sent immediately to clean up and whatnot. But your VTOL transport comes and picks you up and flies you back towards base. As it does, you get a little hollow screen pop down, and you see the face of your commanding officer. Well done, team. You have successfully restored access to our staff and removed the threat from the greenhouse systems. The odd anomaly with the mutations is being investigated and could provide useful research for future projects, but it is good that we at least know now how to handle them safely, so thank you. And, let's not speak of what we've seen to anybody here. Okay? Goodbye. She doesn't stick around to take questions or converse.
Awesome. I will just accept that my personal upgrade was a mission perk. I was attempting to be honest, but, if you're not going to let me be, then, I've been around the company. I know how this works.
So as Julie is breathing an enormous sigh of relief.
Yeah, because, like a plus 2, mechanically a plus 2 athletic boost, like they just gave me like an Olympic mod. And so I don't need to pay for it. Great.
Yeah, and that is permanent. You'll keep that forever now. Actually, and yeah, you will see on another screen within the transport that there is some live footage that someone is streaming from a drone showing the greenhouse, and that there's been some sort of incident and there's been an emergency vehicle come and go. It flicks to another channel and you can see real news footage, this time from an actual journalist, reporting breakthroughs in the new GM greenhouse project and promoting the safety and deliciousness of plant-based meats.
I'm going to be extracting some blood samples and stuff, and probably scraping some stuff off my tongue so they can investigate that, because there's probably still some of the chemicals running through my system of the mutated growth hormone, and scraping off my tongue is the everything bagel seasoning of death, so